Chandra Pointer from Hazel Crest.
There's a quote by Maya Angelou that goes, "There's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you." So here's my story. My name is Chandra Nicole. I'm a wife, mother, author, speaker, and today I'm going to be whoever you need me to be. A sister, a friend, a neighbor, a cousin. Today we're family, okay? Today I'm going to share with you the reason why urban African American moms must do the necessary healing that is needed to ensure that they raise emotional, intelligent, confident, and resilient daughters. So before I get started, I want you to raise your hand if you told your mother or daughter, "I love you" today or sometimes this week. Awesome. And if you did not, can you remember the last time you did? How does that make you feel? Being a mentor of young women, the number one reason I find that mothers are unable to connect with their daughters is because the mother has experienced a childhood trauma that prevents her from being the mother she truly desires to be. I often mentor these young women who seem bitter, angry, and resentful. Young women who are labeled too clingy by young men, who may project their anger and emotions onto their family and friends, who may even blame everyone in the world for who they are and where they are. And in the midst of their frustration, society gives them yet another label. I often hear people say things like, "That girl got daddy issues." Yep, that's what we say. And we assume this because dad is most often not around, as evident by the U.S. Census Bureau that reported in 2017 that there were over 12 million single families living in the United States, and 81% of those families were led by single mothers. Yeah, and because dad seems to be on Mars somewhere, we assume he doesn't want to be there, or he is to blame for his absence. But the truth is, we have two parents, both of whom contributes to the person who we become. I want you to consider for a moment that we, along with our sisters, friends, cousins, and coworkers, have a great deal of mommy issues as well. Issues we dare not confront, because after all, mama brought us in this world, and she sure will take us out. And no matter how bad mama may seem, mothers are revered in our society. And for a long time, I didn't share my mother issues was because people thought I was bitter and crazy. They would say things like, "That's still your mother, Chandra." Or, "Why would you say that about your mother, Chandra?" Because it was my truth, a truth that I suppressed so long until one day I decided to confront my mother. I had nothing to lose and myself to gain. You see, this is the narrative of so many women who fail to connect with their mothers, who go throughout life hopeless and without a sense of self. With the increasing rates of teen pregnancy and single parenting becoming the norm, it's no wonder women are overwhelmed by motherhood. It's no wonder we continue to raise daughters who don't know themselves because, let's be honest, some of us still don't know who we are. I believe the parent we spend the most time with significantly impacts the person who we become more than the parent that does not. We let our mothers off the hook and we blame our fathers for all that's wrong in the world. And if mom is in need of emotional healing for childhood trauma, that's often masked as strength and her being a strong black woman, you better believe she's going to parent from that broken perspective. The reality is, we sometimes hold on to our mother's every word, even when we know she's wrong. We stay trapped inside of a lie because we don't want to believe that our mothers are anything other than perfect. This lie will cost you your happiness and your true self. If we don't do the necessary healing that is needed to ensure that we raise emotional intelligence, if we don't do the necessary healing that is needed to break generational childhood trauma, we will continue to raise daughters who lack emotional intelligence, confidence, and resilience. For me, my healing was quite difficult. Accepting that I needed to go stand in the mirror, keep it real with myself, and release the hurt was quite challenging for me. You know, as mothers, we know what everybody should be doing, but we won't admit sometimes that we don't know what we should be doing. And then we know we need to change too, but we allow our titles to exempt us from accountability. After all, I like who I am. Change for what? No, let me be honest. I didn't think I could change. In fact, I was afraid to change. I was afraid to be vulnerable. At times I would rebel. I sucked at marriage and motherhood. I didn't know why I felt lonely and bitter and angry all the time. But I thank God for my husband, who has the patience of Job. Hallelujah. Let me thank God for my husband one more time for calling a spade and telling it like it is, as humbly as he knew how. He looked at me one day with those brown, sexy, beady eyes and said, "Honey, you need to forgive your mother. Your relationship with her is affecting our marriage and the way you raise our children. I never see you hug nor tell our children you love them. They need that from you." His genuine, innocent advice shook my entire existence. Wait a minute. Dude, did you just question my mothering skills? That was my first response. Yeah, I put up a fight. I simply did not want to dig up nor deal with my emotions regarding my relationship with my mother. After all, this woman who I loved and adored dearly walked out and abandoned my brothers and I to go live with her boyfriend. I was a 15-year-old teen mom at the time. I really needed my mom then, y'all. There were times I would deny myself access to my emotions. And because I loved my mother so much, I often justified her behavior. Or did I really? No, what I really did was project all that hurt, all that anger, all that bitterness onto my husband, children, family, and friends. I rode the emotional roller coaster until I had an emotional wreck. I fell into a depression as history repeated itself at my address. I watched helplessly as my oldest daughter fell into a depression as well. And learning that she had been sexually abused and watching her self-sabotage, trying to make sense of it all, crushed my soul. I felt worthless because I didn't know how to help my ladybug. You see, no one had ever challenged my struggles regarding my mom, and here was my husband, Mr. Fix-It, trying to help 3 generations of women connect, communicate, and heal. But why though? He didn't know the pain that I felt trying to hold on to my mom as she desperately tried to find herself in men. After years of regret and resentment, becoming narcissistic, about to lose my husband, my children, and my mind, I will later find out that my mom had suffered sexual abuse at the hands of family members, and that her sister left home to escape sexual abuse at the hands of her father, and that her mother, a single parent, worked every day to raise 9 children, and at the end of the day had nothing else left to give. So my mom, the wounded child, experienced the same abandonment she inflicted upon her children, and the cycle continued. She did not get her needs met for loving and belonging, and she began to have children in this frame of mind. She didn't have the capacity to give me nor my brothers what we needed. She simply didn't know how. The trauma from her childhood made her numb. Men filled the void, and her children, I became codependent, a peopler, short for people pleaser. I have spent most of my adult life looking for love and acceptance outside of myself. This has stopped me from living my best life, for walking in my purpose, from standing on this stage, fearful and full of anxiety. Guilt, blame, and shame was the enemy, the cancer to our relationship. Oh, but I had to make a choice. Either I was going to wallow in the hurt or heal. I knew that if I didn't release the pain of rejection and abandonment, that I would cheat my girls of the love and affection that they deserved. I was afraid for my daughters to feel that kind of pain, the one of loss and loneliness. I still can't believe I spent 22 years bitter, y'all. From 13 to 35, I told myself I did not need my mom. I convinced myself I hated her. I had to be adopted. I couldn't be her real child. But I know today that that part of my life serves a greater purpose. And I had to accept that I probably won't be able to get all that time that I lost walking in unforgiveness, but that I could choose today to enjoy every moment I have with my mother now. Today, my mother and I are great friends. We did the necessary work of hope and healing. I've seen my mother grow so much, and I'm so very proud of you. Thank you, Mom, for taking this journey with me and believing in us. I love you. I didn't come here today to tell anyone how to be a mother or to critique your mothering skills or to tell you how to raise your daughter, but to challenge you to do the necessary work of hope and healing. I encourage every mother and daughter in here to look within. Start with yourself. What can you change? What can you do different? Forgive, if you need to, your mother or your daughter today, right now. I don't claim to know everything about mothers and daughters, but what I do know is that no one knows how to persevere like an urban African American mom. And we must teach our daughters how to do the same. We must push through unforgiveness because it holds our beautiful life hostage. We must push through guilt because we've all done things that we're not proud of. We must push through shame because we all have personal struggles. And we must push through blame because having healthy mother-daughter relationships is all of our responsibility. After all that has been said, I can only promise you this one thing. If you open yourself up to the possibilities of what your life could be if you chose hope and healing today, you will wake up one day and find yourself out here living and thriving, standing on a stage, presenting a message about mothers and daughters because you did the necessary work of hope and healing. Thank you.
Coming all the way from Illinois, Queen.